I'm glad to be here today and join the Governor and Commissioner Pertuselli and Superintendent Callahan. And I want to thank Governor Murphy for his leadership. He has had to make some incredibly difficult choices, but the decisions that he has made has saved lives. And that's what's most important, the health and safety of every New Jerseyan. In fact, Governor Murphy was ahead of the curve, and I applaud him and his team for taking early action to slow the spread of the virus. And by the way, lest we forget, doing all of this while recovering from his own health challenges. And it's good to see that you're looking well, Governor. That leadership has never mattered more. Now, as the Governor said, unfortunately, I may have to leave early to head back down to Washington for votes this afternoon. I wish I could say it is to move legislation to address this public health and economic crisis, but it is not. The vote is to approve another Trump nominee, not to deal with America's most pressing needs, which is COVID-19. That said, I've already begun in earnest working with my colleagues in Washington on a COVID-4 stimulus package that includes robust, flexible funding for states and communities on the front lines. Because despite all the great work that the governor is doing to combat COVID-19, New Jersey can't do it alone. A national emergency requires a national response. We New Jerseyans did not choose for nearly 140,000 of our friends, family members, and neighbors to contract the virus. We did not choose to lose more than 9,000 of our loved ones to COVID-19. We did not choose to have our economy decimated and our state and local governments besieged by the soaring costs of responding to the virus at a time when tax revenues have all but dried up. Our doctors, nurses, and other frontline medical professionals are working to the bone at great risk to their own personal health and safety to keep people alive and to contain the virus. And I'm proud to see, Governor, after a lot of lobbying based upon what I saw was the first round as unfair to our state, last week our hospitals received $1.7 billion that I think was critical to their existence. Our unsung heroes, grocery clerks, warehouse staff, transit workers, and others are keeping our food and supply chains going and making sure that all essential employees can get to work. Our economy has been shaken. Businesses are struggling. Millions have been furloughed or laid off. People are suffering, and the state and nation is hurting. Now, I've been through a lot of difficult, life-changing events in my time in Congress. September 11th, the 2008 financial collapse, Superstorm Sandy, but nothing like this. And while this is different, we New Jerseyans are tough and resilient. We don't back down from any fight, and whatever knocks us down only makes us stronger. So look, I yearn as much as the next guy for the day when all this is past us and we can finally return things to normal or a new normal. I'd like to get a haircut, and my fiancée would love to go to the hairdresser. But the fastest way to jumpstart our economy and get back to normal is through testing. That's why we need a national strategy for widespread testing so that everyone who needs a test can get a test, something promised by the administration but not yet, the national administration, but not yet delivered. That we can do the comprehensive contact tracing that's required, isolate the sick, and protect the most vulnerable among us. Months into this pandemic, and our national testing capacity remains woefully short. No matter how quickly we want to rejoin society, open our economy, and return to normal, the reality is that folks won't have the consumer confidence, which is the essence of our economy. They will not return until a New Jerseyan knows that their risk of contracting COVID-19 has been dramatically mitigated when they go to a store, a mall, a restaurant, or the public square. That is the only way, no matter how much help from Washington, that is the only way we're ultimately going to succeed. I know the governor has a very aggressive plan for that, at least in our state. That's why I successfully fought for an additional $25 billion set aside for testing in the last stimulus, known as COVID 3.5. The money that New Jersey will get from that should bolster the state's efforts. On Friday, the FDA approved Rutgers University's at-home saliva test, which is an enormous breakthrough developed right here in New Jersey. And we were able to secure another $11 million in federal funding to expand testing at our 24 federally qualified health centers. But the federal government needs to do more, a lot more, if we are going to successfully defeat COVID-19 and move our economy forward. Senator Bill Cassidy, my Republican colleague from Louisiana, and I recently unveiled the bipartisan State and Municipal Aid for Recovery and Transition Fund. We call it the SMART Fund because, well, it's common sense. And I'm pleased to partner with my friend, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, who will be leading the bipartisan effort to get this passed in the House. The SMART Fund provides states with $500 billion in flexible funding, with priority given to the areas of our country with the greatest need, based on COVID-19 infection rates and lost revenues due to the economic fallout. That's what Governor Murphy and his leadership and the bipartisan members of the National Governors Association have been calling for, and what the SMART Fund delivers. Not only that, we fixed the problem with $150 billion in state stabilization funds that Congress authorized in the CARES Act. The SMART Fund will retroactively overturn the U.S. Treasury's erroneously restrictive guidance, giving states like New Jersey maximum flexibility to respond to its most urgent needs. Although I'm pleased that after a lot of tough conversations with Treasury, we should be able to use the first tranche of money, hopefully pretty successful. But this will guarantee it. New Jersey is unfortunately second only to New York in the number of cases, and our economy has been hit harder and longer than most. The SMART Fund ensures New Jersey gets its fair share of federal funding, period, full stop. These flexible federal dollars can help our state dramatically expand its testing capacity and continue to treat COVID-19 patients. It will help stave off massive layoffs and deep, painful cuts to the essential services that make our state the great place to live, work, visit, and shop. If we ever want to get back to normal to see businesses thrive, we also need to ensure that our police officers, firefighters, paramedics have the resources they need. We need to keep our streets safe, our kids in school, the buses and trains running on time, and the essential public workers we need to get through this on the job. There's an ideological fight right now in the Congress about whether or not to help our frontline states and communities, but I'm optimistic. Democrats understand what's at stake, and more Republicans are starting to see the situation in their own states grow more dire, both in the number of COVID cases and the economic impact. This isn't a blue state or red state issue. This is an American issue. When I voted for funding for flooding in the Mississippi, wildfires in the West, Hurricane Katrina, I never asked whether it was a red or blue state. That's why we call the country the United States of America. And so as I continue to speak to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, I feel confident more and more we'll see the SMART Fund as the reasonable, sensible approach it is. We are on the verge of announcing several new Republican Senate colleagues who will join us in this effort, hopefully by the end of this week. And governors, mayors, and county leaders from across New Jersey and coast to coast have expressed support. The New Jersey Policemen's Benevolent Association, the Amalgamated Transit Union, and others have endorsed the SMART Fund because they understand what's at stake for their members. And I'll continue to press upon my colleagues that the only way to defeat COVID-19 and send our economy on a glide path to recovery is by sending federal reinforcements to the front lines, to the state and local communities waging war with an invisible enemy. The federal government cannot sit on its hands and watch our states go bankrupt and our people suffer. The time to act is now, and I won't give up on this fight. And Governor, I'll just close where I began. After September 11th, we built a national intelligence system and homeland security system that has averted another strike on the homeland. After the 2008 financial collapse, we created new safeguards against systemic risks and gave consumers a champion in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. After Superstorm Sandy, we built New Jersey back, made our beaches more resilient and our communities stronger than the storm. And after COVID-19, we will be better prepared, more resilient in our public health infrastructure. I see a rising sun on New Jersey and the nation, not a setting sun. And together, Governor, we're going to make it shine brighter than the brightest sun we've ever seen. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your invitation to be here with you.